I'm driving out to Hampton. I'm spending the night. You're cooking for me breakfast and dinner. I'm cooking for you. What are we doing? When God shows you things or bring things to light, pay attention. What's up, guys? It's your girl Charlene Nicole, and welcome to Charlene Nicole Speaks. Today we're talking about situationships, in particular mine. It's embarrassing, so just learn from my mistake. Okay, I'm not even going to use his name. Let's say his name is Damien. Work with me. My last relationship was almost 7 years. That relationship ended in 2017. So ever since 2017, I've been single. You know, I went through the healing process. I learned how to be on my own, and I accepted the season that I was in. It's been about 3 to 4 years. It was the weekend of the Tyson fight. A friend of mine invited me over to his house for a fight party that he was having. For me personally, I haven't been out in a while. So I told him, yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll come through. In particular, this dating site that I was on, BLK. Not sure if any of you have heard of it. If you have, drop some of your experiences, please. So I was strolling on Black and, you know, doing the normal swipe. That evening, you know, I had already got dressed. I'm chilling at home, watching TV, not really doing much. So at that time, I got on Black. Now keep in mind, me and Damien kept having conversations very light here and there. I didn't have my notifications on because I wasn't pressed. I just used it whenever I got bored. So when I got back on there, for some reason, Damien ended up hitting me on there and saying, you know, it would be so much easier if we text. Shortly after I had given him my number, he had texted me and he said, isn't this better? I basically told him, you know, we might as well just talk on the phone. So he ended up calling me. Cool. So because it was the weekend of the fight, he had asked me, did you have plans? I said, yes, a friend of mine is having a fight party. So I'm going to, you know, his fight party. So he basically told me about a fight party that he was going to and if I would like to come. You don't even know me, sir. What I'm capable of, I could set you up. Not that I'm about that life, but you don't know me and you're inviting me to a fight party at one of your family members' house. Let's carry on with the story. I shut that down. I was just kind of like, you know, no. And keep in mind, it's still about 3 to 4 hours before my friend's fight party. He was like, well, you know, you want to link up? Would you like to meet? This is our first conversation. Please don't judge me. At that point, I just wanted to get out the house. I can just say that I was not smart because anything could have happened to me. You know what I'm saying? I did not know this man and I was willing to meet up with him like that. Thinking about it after the fact, I would not ever do that again or advise anyone to do that because people are dying left to right doing things like that. And by the grace of God, you know, this person wasn't that type. We ended up meeting halfway because he lived out in the Hampton area. Now I'm familiar with the Hampton area because I went to HU, Hampton. Boop, boop. I was familiar with the area, but I'm not about to drive all the way out there to you. I don't know who you are. I'm not driving out to Hampton, and it won't happen. So we ended up meeting halfway at a gas station. It was not smart. I am aware. Keep your thoughts to yourself. You know, I got out the car. We ended up seeing each other and meeting. It really surprised me. Like, you know how you don't expect much out, you're not that eager, or it's just somebody new and it's just like, whatever. We ended up sitting there, you know, talking and laughing and for about 2 hours. When I first met Damien and we had our first few conversations, they consisted of us talking about, you know, him being a God-fearing man, me working on establishing a stronger relationship with God. We talked about people being assignments and you having your person the person who's destined to be in your life. By the time that I drove it's back to Richmond, I pulled up to my friend's house. I didn't even go in. I was so tired. I was just kind of like, I ended up having a good time just talking to him, talking to Damien. Killer person, when Damien had hit me the next day, we just kept communicating, kept talking. That next night, we were on the phone for hours. I don't sit on the phone with guys for hours talking to them. And so he started asking questions about my past. And ladies, one thing that I can tell you, what I've learned from this situation, do not tell a man, especially a new man, about your past. The past is the past. Leave the past in the past. And don't bring that up to your new man. Because what men do, they analyze. And subconsciously, they seek out your weaknesses. And I feel like the problem was that I was telling him too much too soon. He was so consistent, and he made it very clear that he was interested in me and he wanted me. And that was very refreshing. But the first time we met, I do remember Damien trying to get me to come out to Hampton. And, because he wanted to do something nice for me. He wanted to cook for me. I shut that down immediately because I was just like, no, I don't feel comfortable coming to your house. It doesn't make sense for me to come to your house. I don't know you. And I'm not driving all the way out to Hampton to come to you. So Damien was just like, okay, you respect it. I respect that. That's fine. I just wanted to really cook for you. So he ended up taking me out on a date. So we ended up going to Olive Garden. After we had finished dinner, he was really adamant about walking me to the car because he had stated that he wanted to get me, he wanted to get me all to himself. I remember him trying to full on kiss me. Keep in mind, at this point, Damien and I had quite a few conversations since the last time we actually seen each other in person. I'm feeling him a little bit, but not enough to be slobbing you down. So literally every day since we met, Damien and I were on the phone for 8+ hours. I lied to you not. I work remotely from home currently because of COVID. He works in trucking, so he has a headset. So it was very easy for the both of us to actually talk on the phone. He would text me probably around 7-ish, I think, in the morning, just to say good morning. He would call me around 9 a.m. We would be on the phone from like 9 a.m. to about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. It was to the point where I built an attachment for this man. Second week in December, after we had the date, he had invited me over. At the time, I had a Christmas event, and the way that my house was set up, like I had event stuff all over. I had work stuff all over. My house was just a freaking mess. Initially, that was the reason why I didn't want him to come to me. I wanted to go to him because my home was in a disarray. It was a mess. So I was just like, I was more willing to actually come to him. It's like, I can foresee a relationship for the both of us, and I'm getting excited because this is the first time in years I've ever really taken somebody serious. So this is where everything starts to go downhill. I had packed a bag and I went out to Hampton to go spend the night. I knew what I was doing. I didn't plan to have sex with him. I wanted to spend more time with him. He ended up messing around a little bit, kissing and hugging type stuff, and then we watched a movie. Everything was just really, really chill. We woke up the next morning. We play fought, joked around, hugged, and then he went downstairs to cook breakfast for me, right? Which was so sweet. And I could smell it. So, I'm upstairs washing my face, putting on my clothes and stuff. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, well, if he's downstairs cooking, I don't want to just stay upstairs. So I'm gonna go downstairs and see if I can help him. See, that's that masculine entity. That's that masculine energy issue. And I'm going to do a video on that. If I was using my feminine energy, oh my gosh. If I was using my feminine energy, then I would have stayed my butt right upstairs and relaxed and let him cook me breakfast and bring it upstairs. I don't understand what was so hard about letting him cater to me. I don't understand. I drove all the way out to Hampton. Why didn't I just let this man cater to me? So, I ended up chilling with him a little bit after that, and everything was good. He kissed me and hugged me before I left, and I drove back home. So that Sunday, I remember he was supposed to go to a comedy show with his best friend. And, I didn't want to bother him too much. So I was going to ask him, I was going to wait to talk to him, Monday, like we normally do, because, I know you about to go to a comedy show. I'm not going to bother you. I was just with you. So I remember trying to talk to him Monday, and it was kind of like he dodged me a little bit. He ended up communicating with me the next day and telling me, he had a rough day because he was just trying to figure out his feelings, because he's liking where we're going with this and he just wants it to continue. So for me, it made me really excited because I was just like, wow, I feel the same way about him. I remember the following weekend, so I didn't get to see him. And, he had already expressed wanting to be able to see me every weekend. So I knew the distance was bothering him a little bit. So the following weekend, he told me that his sister was having a birthday dinner and he wanted me to come. And in my mind, I started freaking out. So why are you this eager? Why aren't you relaxed? Just chill. Because right now, y'all are friends. But in my mind, we're not really friends. The problem with us is that we dive straight in. There were some weekends that I even stayed all the way into Monday, and I just brought my work and I worked from his house. I'm driving out to Hampton, I'm spending the night, we're getting intimate, you're cooking for me breakfast and dinner, I'm cooking for you. What are we doing? We never solidified a friendship. As it started is as quickly as it started to dissolve, unfortunately. He started making certain comments about the different type of girls that he used to talk to and used to entertain in his wild days. But in my mind, when I first heard him saying those things, it literally made me feel like a piece of meat. Like, are you taking me around your family to introduce me to your family because you like me a lot? Or are you bringing me around your family as an arm piece? Like you just want to show off? I didn't know. And that made me feel really insecure. It made me then he was sending me pictures of different hairstyles I should wear, different hairstyles. What are you doing? So him doing all of that week, it just kind of made me feel some type of way. I'm not even going to hold you. So, at this stage, the weekend of his sisters, this is where God started to shed some light on some issues, some dark issues that I still had within myself. So that Sunday, we had a normal day. I cooked breakfast for him. We were hanging out, we were lounging out, and a few hours before his sister's dinner had started, my mom had called me. Now, I got up from his couch because him and I were laying down on the couch watching TV, and I didn't want her to say something crazy. So I got up, and she saw my background, was like, "Where are you?" And as soon as she saw that I was at his house, she literally said, I didn't raise you like that. Like, what are you doing? And with my mom even saying that, I felt it. I literally felt it, because deep down I knew she was right. Why am I laying up here playing the girlfriend and he hasn't committed? Why is it? He's getting a lot out of this for nothing. I went back in the living room and he could see the shift in my energy. And we even had a conversation about the conversation that I just had with my mom. Y'all, I do not know why I even told him what she said. It was more so, you do need to honor your mother and your father. And if your mom says, you need to slow down, then, you should listen to her. Yeah, y'all heard me. He literally said, if your mom said that you should slow down, then you should listen to her. He stated, don't allow your mom to make you feel bad about something that makes you feel good, though. Like, if you are happy and you're doing something that makes you happy, then do that. Honor your mother and father. I got that part. And slowing down, I absolutely got that part. And I understand that. I'm confused because it's like now you're saying maybe you should listen to your mom, but do what makes you happy. If you're happy, be happy. So, instead of stressing it too much, I tried to just let it go. After brief awkwardness of emotion that I displayed, we were sitting on the couch. We went back to cuddling. His uncle ended up calling and asking if we were still coming and if he was going to bring me. So he had turned to me and said, "Are you still going?" Looked at him because, again, earlier that week, not only was he boasting about, past girls, but he was telling me, trying to give me ideas of how I should wear my hair and feeling like, I would be just a display. All of that just fed into my insecurity deep down. And in my mind, I was like, does he really want me to go? Because it's like, he's telling me how to wear my hair. He always comes with a good looking girl on his arm. Like, all of that stuff did not rub me right. Basically, I had told him, yeah, I can go or I can go home. He told his uncle, yeah, she's coming. I think his uncle or his stepdad. I don't know. I'm probably getting that wrong. And instead of just going, I didn't know what it was, but I just didn't feel confident to go. So I went upstairs and, I was going back and forth in my mind trying to figure out, are you going? Are you not going? Are you going? And, he had asked me multiple times, what's wrong? Are you okay? What's wrong? And I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. And he was like, okay, because you're just sitting there looking weird. So I had packed up my bag and he had took my bag downstairs for me. And, in my mind, I'm just like, what the heck? Like, do you not really want me to go? So I remember him walking me outside with my bag. And keep in mind, this is the weekend before the weekend for New Year's. He walked me outside with my bag and I gave him attitude. Basically, he tried to give me a hug. I gave him a half hug. And when he tried to kiss me, I gave him a dry kiss. I remember him looking at me like, the heck is that? Like, what's wrong with you? But he didn't really say much. He ended up just letting me go. So I remember, driving back home, I didn't call him later that night or anything because in my mind, I'm like, well, he's the man. He should call me to make sure I got home safely. I was really, really tripping. And I should have just, text him to let him know I had got home and left it at that. I remember him not really talking to me the following day because of that. And then when we did finally talk, he was just like, he saw a side of me that he really didn't like. He wasn't feeling it and he really didn't understand where that energy came from. And I didn't want to tell him that, it had everything to do with him feeding my insecurities. Like, I didn't want to tell him that. So, I ended up having to tell him the truth. Like, I felt really insecure about myself. I didn't feel 100%. So that was the first time that we, things didn't work out too well. Following weekend, he wanted to see me that day before Christmas. But I was just like, no, I'm not about to come out there. I have plans with my family. We ended up linking up to exchange presents because he wanted to, give me a gift that really meant something. So I ended up getting him, I ended up buying him a dish rack. I bought him his favorite football team pillows for his man cave. I bought him a poster for his man cave with his favorite team, and also a nice team throw to put over his couch. I think his whole gift altogether was like $50. I spent $50. And he had bought, not only did he buy me custom shirts for my business, but he bought my mom a gift card to Bath and Body Works, and he bought a gag gift for my dad where it was a team mug, a really nice mug, but it was of Damien's favorite team and not my dad's favorite team. I have not ever allowed a guy that close to my family before, not even my ex. In my mind, I was just like, this is the guy. Like, no one can tell me that this is not my man. Like, this is it. This is it. So after we made it past that very awkward weekend, you know, I ended up apologizing. You know, I acknowledged that I was wrong for giving off that energy, but let's move forward. Like, let's just move forward, and I'll be mindful to control that or communicate when I feel something. Just communicate with you. That's something that I can work on with you. Okay, after he had distanced himself after that day and then we talked, it seemed like we were back on track a little. He came right back in because the following weekend was New Year's, and he wanted me to come out there for New Year's. Me and my friend Ams went out there to hang out with him and his friend, and it was a great evening. Played games until the ball dropped. I ran in there and I kissed him at midnight, and everything was going so well. My friend and his friend ended up falling asleep, so him and I ended up playing games until about 3-something, and after a while we ended up calling it a night, and we went upstairs, went to sleep. This is where the situationship just crumbled. After last weekend of that buffoonery and it being very awkward, this was my redemption weekend. I was going to make it up to him. I was going to remind him that, look, we're good, like, until we weren't again. I had rolled over. It's like 4 a.m. and I see him on his phone, but then he puts the phone like this, like as if he, you know, kind of didn't want me to see the phone. So I sat up immediately irritated because everything flashed before me. I'm driving out here to come see you all the time. You know, I'm acting like I'm your girlfriend. I'm over here as if I'm trying to prove that I deserve a title. Like, I'm not liking how I'm positioning myself. And I'm not liking how I feel like you were texting a female, because why would you flip your phone that quickly? Like, that's questionable to me. So I started putting my bracelets on. He could feel my energy. He knew I was upset or irritated. He knew I was irritated. I had set up, I had put my bracelets back on, and I looked down at my phone and I had saw that Ams had tried to call me. So, you know, she had tried to call me like 8 minutes ago. So instead of saying anything to him, I didn't say a thing. I ended up walking around his bed and walking straight downstairs to go check on Ams to see if she was okay. So Ams, you know, it's 4-some in the morning. Ams like, girl, I didn't know that it was this late. I'm ready to go. And I'm just like, oh. Out of respect, because I did drive her out there, I wasn't gonna say no. So I go back upstairs and I'm like, woosah, don't keep this energy, girl. Don't keep this energy. So I had took off his pajama pants he had gave me, and I went in the bathroom. I put my pants back on, and I came back out, and I walked over to him, and I was like, me and Am's about to go. So do you know what this man says to me? He takes a deep breath and he says, I forgot what his homeboy's name was, but he was like, tell so-and-so to turn Alexa off. Now keep in mind, we're upstairs. So that means that you had no intention of walking me downstairs before I left. So that's when I started to get very upset, because I'm already irritated because it seems like you were texting another female. And now I'm getting even more irritated because you are telling me to tell your homeboy something you could clearly tell your homeboy when you walk me downstairs. He's like, what's wrong? All right, this man had told me last weekend to express myself, communicate. So I was like, all right, were you texting someone? And he said, yes, I was texting my homie downstairs. Now, you know us. If your homie is downstairs, why are you texting him at 4 something in the morning? He's downstairs, sleep. That don't make sense. So before I could say anything, he shows me his phone, where it's clearly showing that it was his homeboy texting him, telling him that my friend was ready to go. But he didn't want to call him because he knew we were upstairs asleep, and he didn't want to wake us up, but he just wanted to let him know. So after he had showed me that, I felt so stupid. I was like, this was supposed to be my redemption weekend, and instead I'm over here acting like a jealous girlfriend, and I am not his girlfriend. Like, though I'm acting so out of character, and you could ask anyone that freaking knows me, I don't act like this over men. I don't. Like, I seriously do not act this way over anyone. Me to be acting like this in this moment, y'all, like, it was the worst. So I ended up telling him, I'm like, I don't like, something is just not right in my spirit right now, and it's some things that I really need to work on and I need to change, because I'm sitting up here asking you who you're texting and I'm not your girlfriend. Why did I say that? Not only am I showing that I could be jealous, but I'm showing that I can be insecure. I'm showing that I'm way too eager and desperate for a relationship. That's the type of energy I gave off. And everything I did set me up to be a convenience to this man. Any original opportunity that I had to display my full value was taken away. As soon as I started acting needy, desperate, jealous, insecure, I did it all. And it blew my mind, y'all. Soon after that happened, he started to distance himself. We ended up having a conversation, and we talked about that weekend. He expressed why he wanted to slow things down with me. He felt like we should listen to what my mom said and to slow things down. Then made a statement that I could not believe, y'all. In that conversation, he literally said how he was probably an assignment for me. Wow. So he said maybe I was meant to, come into your life to show you that there are good men out here. I don't even remember the rest of the conversation. All I remember is him basically telling me that he was my assignment and he was going to help me through. Help me through? No, the only person that can help me through is God. This story time is in no way to talk about his character, to judge his character, because I genuinely still believe that he's a good person. So in no way am I make it seem like he is just this bad person, because he honestly isn't. After that conversation, I completely pulled my energy back. I pulled my energy back because at that point I had an attachment. I had a soul tie with him. My heart was invested. Not only did I go in with no boundaries, no parameters, but I painted this picture that a relationship was coming out of this. I had already saw us in a relationship. So my responses got really short. Woman intuition, I knew he was entertaining other people at this point. We weren't talking like that anymore. I felt like he placed me on the back burner. Like, no, I don't deserve this. We didn't even establish a friendship. So if we're not still doing what we were doing, then we shouldn't be doing anything. We shouldn't be talking. We shouldn't be communicating. We should cut that. Just cut it. There's no point in holding on, because you've already made it clear that I am no longer what you're interested in. It is what it is. You're moving on. So I remember I realized that I was really attached, because even when he still texts me, I would still respond to him. In my mind, I was just like, I couldn't find a real reason to be upset with him, because I knew God had shed the light on those things for a reason. I didn't know that I was still dealing with insecurity that I had established from the past. At a certain point when I was talking to Damien, I found myself trying to somewhat mold myself into what I thought he wanted, because I really liked him. So not only was my identity not as solid as I thought it was, but I realized that I had to deal with my insecurity. I needed to deal with my insecurity, y'all. When God shows you things or bring things to the light, pay attention. Pay attention and realize you may want a relationship, but you may not be completely ready for one just yet. And I remember him reaching out to me. At that time, I just was not in the spirit to talk to anybody. I was going through a lot at that time. I shut down, and I just don't want to talk to anybody. And I remember quite a few people, hit me up to check in on me to make sure I was good, because they hadn't heard from me. And I realized he wasn't one of them. I ended up calling him because I was just like, I wanted to talk to him. Like, not remembering the reality of the situation, where it's like, hello, y'all never established a real friendship. Y'all jumped right in. There is no foundation. There is no friendship. So why are you reaching out to this man at this stage a week later, trying to talk to him about what's been going on? What are you doing? The one person that I should have leaned on more than anything in that time was God. With my issues, with my problems, I'm calling him, expecting him to, talk me through it, expecting him to care. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was. It was me crying out for him to care. Like, after he had gave me advice about what I was going through, I remember having to get off the phone because I had a meeting. I had a work meeting in a few minutes, and I didn't even tell him I was gonna call him back. At that stage, I had made a decision. I was like, you know what? I'm walking away. Like, in my mind, I don't know if he thought I was trying to play games. I really don't know what he thought, but everything that I displayed was real. You know what? At this stage, I can't make somebody see my value. I'm not perfect. It was too many things that I did that displayed the opposite of what I wanted. For one, not establishing a foundation. I should have controlled that immediately. The presence of God wasn't in the midst of that situation either. Anything without him within the middle of it is doomed anyway. It was just so many things that I did backwards in that relationship that I learned from, situationship that I learned from. And moving forward, the only thing that I can do is do better. From the things that God has showed me from this, like, in all actuality, he was right. He was an assignment. I also learned to exert my feminine energy and allow a man to be a man. Allow a man to cater to me, because I'm so used to being the giver. I'm used to giving. I'm used to being the person that caters to. And I need to allow a man to do that for me. I had to let go of the energy from the soul tie that I had with my ex. I was with that man for 6+ years, and it was very hard to shake the insecurities that developed from that relationship, the fear that developed from that relationship, where I always felt like I had to be in competition with other women that God shed light on with Damien and myself. And I take it as it was so much positive to come from an ugly situation. No more situationships in 2021 and beyond. No more. I'm not doing this again. I'm currently celibate. And actually, there is a sermon that I actually just saw today that supported that, and I'm probably going to keep watching over and over again. I forgot the pastor's name, but it was so good, y'all. The point of this story is to share my mistakes so you guys don't make them. Situationships are not the way to go. If you're currently entertaining a situationship, cut it. A man knows within 3 months if he wants to date you exclusively with a title and court you. If he hasn't done that, you are a placeholder and you are his convenience. You're not getting any benefit. He is. We are not doing any more situationships rest of 21 or ever. Well, guys, that's all I got for you with this story time. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys later.